Okay, let us define what it means by the transpirations. Okay, so when you define the transpirations, so the correct transpiration is the loss of water vapor from a plant to its surrounding environment by diffusions down a water potential gradient. So this is the meanings of the transpiration. But in this case, we need to highlight this term. It's the loss of water vapor. Guys, you have to highlight this. It's the loss of water vapor, not the water. Okay, means that it must be this liquid water must evaporate first to form the water vapor, then only transpirations can take place. So if you look at the entire process, approximately 99% of the water in a plant, okay, or the plant absorbed from the soil, basically is used, okay, or lost to the environment by the evaporation process. It can evaporate, this water can evaporate from the leaf or from the stem, but majority from the leaf. So 99% evaporated. So 1% for what? 1% can be used for hydrolysis. Okay, can be used for what? Can be used for the photosynthesis. Okay, for what? To maintain the turgor pressure. Okay, so the remaining 1%. So generally, more than, okay, or around 99% of this water will be evaporated, okay, from the leaf or from the stem, but majority from the leaf. So when this water evaporated and loose through this leaf or stem, this process is termed as a transpiration. Are you clear? It's termed as the transpiration. Okay, as long as they lose it in the form of water vapor. But if you want to really look at the transpiration, at the leaf there, we can actually separate the process into two, which term as cuticle transpirations or stomatal transpiration. We have these two, cuticle and the stomatal. Now, let us look at this. First, what does mean cuticle? If you look at the upper epidermis, okay, upper epidermis. So upper epidermis do have this ability to secrete a layer of the cuticle, which is formed by Q-tip. Okay, a layer of cuticle. So this layer is termed as cuticle. So the chemical that forms this layer is known as Q-tip. But cuticle is a waxy cuticle, but this waxy cuticle is not totally waterproof. Are you clear? It's not totally waterproof. So means that water molecule still can evaporate to the tiny pore, okay, in this cuticle and evaporated out from this cuticle. So the evaporation through this way is water vapor, right? The evaporation must be water vapor. So as long as we let the plant lose the water in the form of water vapor, this is a form of transpirations. So about 1 to 3% through this, what we call the cuticle transpiration. Okay, about 1 to 3%. And the remaining one are through the opening of the stomata. So means that at the lower epidermis, we do have the gut cell. So this is the stomach. So if the water vapor diffuse out from this way, by diffusion, through the stomata, so this form is take out about 97 to 99%. This is termed as the stomatal transpiration. Are you clear? So because it's a huge percentage, okay, it's a huge percentage of the evaporation take place by this mode. Therefore, sometimes when we use the word transpiration, without clarification whether it's a cuticle or stomatal, when I write the word transpiration, generally refer to the stomatotranspiration because 99%, okay, 1 to 3% of the cuticle transpiration is insignificant in this case. Basically, we tend to ignore this 1 to 3%. Okay, so again, guys, if the question asks about transpiration, automatically refer to the stomatotranspiration. But we do need to know that some of this water can be lost through the cuticle transpiration, which take about 1 to 3% only. Okay, and when you answer the question, basically you have to understand that when you use the word cuticle, you only can reduce the water loss. Because with the presence of cuticle, if no cuticle, even worse. Are you clear? But with the presence of cuticle here, we can reduce the water loss as the water vapor by the cuticle transpiration. Are you clear? Okay, so if without the cuticle, it may increase to 50% because from the surface of the epidermal, okay, upper epidermal cells. Okay, so next part, let us look at how the this transpiration actually occur. Okay, so before going to these diagrams, let me show you guys a 2D diagram first. Then we only go into this 3-dimensional diagram. Now, let me draw out the some structures in the leaf. So first of all, we do have this xylem vessel element. So how you differentiate xylem vessel elements? Generally, they do have a thick wall, a thick cell wall. Okay, so this is xylem vessel element. Okay, so this xylem vessel element nearby cells may have this spongy mesophyll. So irregular shape. Okay, so with very thin cell wall compared to the xylem vessel element. So this is a mesophyll cell. Okay, we have few of them and they are loosely packed. Okay, so another one, they are loosely packed. And because they are loosely packed, it creates the air space. So this air space is termed as a substomatal cavity. Okay, then we do have another, the final layer of the cells here is termed as the lower epidermis. Okay, so lower epidermis, we have the specialized cells, they control the pore size. So these cells, they are gut cells. Okay, so we do have this term as the lower epidermal cells. And we do have this gut cell. So the gut cell actually control, okay, the pore here. So this pore is termed as the stoma. Okay, singular stoma. So we do have a substomatal cavity. Okay, so how the transpiration actually take place? Now, imagine here, the blue color represents this the movements of the water molecule. So first of all, we do have the water molecule at the cell wall. So the water molecule at the cell wall, what actually happened? So they absorb the heat energy. So when they absorb the heat energy, so evaporations take place. Are you clear? So number one process, very important. Number one here, number one actually is evaporation. So means that's the liquid water here, the liquid water, okay? So the water evaporate. A water molecule evaporate. Okay, so what they form water vapor. Can you see that? Are you clear? So the water evaporates, forming this water vapor. And this water vapor are going to saturate the substomatal cavity. Are you clear? So means that this substomatal cavity now full with water vapor. Are you clear? Now, because of evaporation, so means the water potential inside the cell wall will be lower. Then what will happen next? So the water molecule now move into the cell wall from the cytoplasm. So making the cytoplasm of the mesophyll cells now low in water potential. So therefore, water molecule now move from the xylem vessel element into the cytoplasm. Can you see that? So the first important process actually take place here is termed as evaporation. And because of evaporation, now substomatal cavity have high water potential. Are you clear? Because saturated, high water potential. Okay, now next. If you compare to the atmosphere, so atmosphere constantly we have the wind. Correct or not? So the wind will carry away the water vapor. And the wind will carry away water vapor. So means that the water vapor, the number of water vapor at the atmosphere will be lower. So because of the substomatal now saturated with water vapor, so means that the water potential inside the substomatal cavity is high and the water potential at the atmosphere is low. When the gut cell open the stomata, now this water vapor move out. Okay, so we do have the second process here termed as diffusion. So why we diffusion, not osmosis? Okay, because we do not involve the phospholipids bilayer or self-membrane or selectively permeable membrane. So therefore, in this case, we say that water vapor diffuse. Okay, from where? Water vapor diffuses from substomatal cavity. Okay, to or into atmosphere. Okay, by diffusion down the water potential gradient. And this thing will happen because of what? Because of the opening of the stomata. Because of the opening of the stomata, therefore water vapor now diffuse from the substomatal cavity to the atmosphere down the water potential gradient. So here is diffusion. So two main processes here. Oh, sorry, I need use the red color. You have to use a correct term, guys. Be careful. So the first process actually is evaporation. Then we have the water vapor. And next, the diffusion takes place down the water potential gradient. So question always asks why diffusion, not osmosis? It cannot be osmosis because when you deal with osmosis, it must be selectively permeable membranes. Okay. Okay, let us actually compare in terms of the water potential, which one having higher water potential, which one have lower water potential. So it will compare water potential high to low. Then you realize that the highest will be inside the xylem or xylem vessel element. Okay, xylem vessel elements, followed by what? Followed by the cytoplasm of mesophyll cell. And then only the cell wall of mesophyll cells. And then substomatal cavity. Then only atmosphere. Okay, so xylem vessel element will be will have highest amongst 5 regions here, and atmosphere will have the lowest water potential if you compare. Are you clear? So therefore, the entire process, you can see the entire process, where is this water coming from? So water actually coming from the xylem, at the end become the water vapor at the atmosphere. Can I see that? So this one is a liquid water. Can I see that? And it becomes the gaseous form, what we call as the water vapor. So the entire process, okay, you can see that the transpiration is a passive process. If you look at it, we call it as a passive process, not passive transport, guys, not passive transport. So transpiration basically is a passive process. Okay, if you look at it, it's a passive process, means that the process does not require ATP, but we need energy. If no kinetic energy, we not heat energy, we don't have this transpiration. It's a passive process down the water potential gradient. This one you have to know. Okay, understand, guys, so far? Okay. Now you look at this activity 8.2, you can see that the flow, okay, the sequence, okay. So what's number one? Number one, you can see that the water, number one, the water molecule actually enter from the cytoplasm or vacuole into the cell wall. Can you see that? Okay, because evaporation must take place from the cell wall. So therefore, water molecule can move from the cytoplasm into the cell wall. All this water molecule already in the cell wall move to this region. So that number two is evaporation. Okay, so in this diagram, guys, number two actually is evaporation. Okay, and when evaporated, means that water potential at the cell wall will be lower than the water potential in the cytoplasm. So water potential in the cytoplasm will be lower than the xylem. Therefore, water molecule in the xylem now move into the cytoplasm or move to the cell wall. So because the evaporation takes place, now air space or substomatal cavity saturated with the water vapor. So when the gut cell open, the stomata, therefore diffusion takes place. And number 6, basically, this water vapor won't stay there for long because at the atmosphere, we do have the wind that carry away the water vapor. So the most important two processes here is number 2 and number 5. Number 5 is the diffusion. Are you clear? Okay, so quick ones, answer the question, arrange the following event in the correct order. Okay, so 3 minutes, complete this. Okay, so based on this, okay guys, based on this diagram, sorry. Now we try answer step number 1, step number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so what's number 1? So number 1 is the water molecule move through okay, wait, sir. Yeah. Okay, so first we have this water molecule, okay, move through the mesophyll cells, okay, T, okay, the cell wall or out of the mesophyll cytoplasm into the cell wall down the water potential gradient. Okay, number 1. Okay, so once they at the cell wall already, so what happened? Because the cell in the mesophyll layer, they are not tightly packed, so water from the cell wall, the liquid water now can evaporate into the airspace. So number 2, answer is P. Okay, so because of the movement of water molecule out already, then it's lower down the water potential. So therefore, the water now leave a xylem vessel through a non-lignified area. I will tell you guys more tomorrow, such as the pits. Okay, then it may enter the cytoplasm of the cell wall down against down the water potential gradient. So the next answer is U. So because of the movement, so means that now water molecule can move from the soil into the xylem and along the xylem to the leaf. So number 4 is U. Water now move up the xylem vessel to replace the water loss. And next, what will happen here? We do know that the substomata cavity now is saturated with the water vapor, and the water potential in the substomata cavity is higher than atmosphere. So water vapor now diffuse from the airspace through an open stoma by transpirations down the water potential gradient. So the entire process, can see that I keep on saying that down the water potential gradient. Okay, and last, the winds. Okay, where's the winds? So water leaf, okay, wait. So the R, okay, so the water vapor is carried away from the leaf surface by the air movement, the wind. So again, reduce the water potential inside the leaf because we continue to lose the water vapor. Okay, so the last one is R. Okay, so TPSUQR. Okay, so now we do know that 99% of the water absorbed by the plants will be lost as the water vapor. So it's quite a dangerous and harmful process, correct or not, for the plant. Okay, so it's similar to, try to imagine you drink the water. Okay, you drink 1 liter, 0.9 liter, you're going to pee out, correct or not? It's a harmful process. You're going to lose, dehydrate in this case. Can you see that? But why plants still need to do this? Okay, why plants still need to do this? And can the plants actually stop the process or not? The answer is no, because we do know that stomatal transpiration is an inevitable consequence of the gas exchange in plant. So basically, if the plants need to carry out the photosynthesis and have the gas exchange, they can't stop the transpirations from taking place. So questions in the Cambridge, or your paper 2, most of the time they will ask this question. Transpiration is often described as an inevitable consequence of the gas exchange in the plant. Explain what is meant by this statement. Okay. So we do know that the substomata cavity, they are saturated with water vapor. Okay. So because water or liquid water evaporates from the cell wall, highlight the word cell wall, it must be cell wall, okay, not cytoplasm. Okay, so evaporated from the cell wall of the mesophyll cell. So means that water potential inside the substomata cavity is much more higher compared to the atmosphere. Why? Inside the substomata cavity, we have the accumulation of the water vapor, but atmosphere water vapor, they are carried away by the wind. Okay, so now we do know that inside high water potential, outside low water potential. When the plant carry out this photosynthesis, stomata are open for the gas exchange, so that we allow a net diffusion of the CO2 into the leaf and a net diffusion of O2 out of the leaf. And why? Because of the photosynthesis. So at the same time, when the stomata open, this water vapor inevitably diffuses out of the leaf through the stomata down the water potential gradient. So can plants stop it? No, plant can't stop the process, as the transpiration process, as long as they want to carry out the gas exchange. Okay. But the thing is, plant want to stop it or not? The question here. Okay, if for us it seems like it's a very wasteful process, it's very harmful process, but for plant, this process or this transpiration may have the beneficial or what we call these benefits for the plants, because first, due to this transpiration, the transpiration creates transpiration pool, and because of this transpiration pool actually responsible for the water molecule movement in the plant from the soil to the leaf, bringing these dissolved mineral ions such as the nitrate, such as the magnesium. Okay, those are very important ions for the survival of the plant. Okay, and the plant also need to cool down the leaf, particularly in the under the direct sunlight. Okay, so in order to have the cooling effect, we need to bring away or carry away the heat energy. So this heat energy will be absorbed by the water, okay, absorbed by the water to evaporate. So means that if you link it back to the chapter number 3, the property of water here. So we involve two properties of water. So first property of water, because water molecule move, they're going to bring together with a dissolved mineral ion. So means that water is an excellent solvent with link back. Are you clear? They are excellent solvents, so therefore they can dissolve the mineral ion and bring them from the soil to the shoot. Number 2, because it gives us the cooling effect, so means that this the property of water, they have high, okay, latent heat of evaporation. And because of this property, the evaporations of the water from the surface give the plants what we call the evaporative, okay, cooling effect. Are you clear? Okay, so because of the water molecule have high latent heat of evaporations. Okay, so we have done for the general introductions of transpirations. The next part we're going to look at is what are the factors affecting the rate of transpirations. We're going to start it with the external factor and followed by the internal factor. Okay, so I off the record now.